Hello, Jacob here, with a Minnesota Vikings 2021 schedule breakdown. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The Minnesota Vikings will be taking on a 17-game regular season schedule this year, because the NFL officially passed what all of us thought would happen and made the season, instead of 16 regular season games, 17 regular season games. So, what does that mean for the Vikings? That means the Vikings this year will be playing 8 home games and 9 road games. So, yeah. That'll be interesting, just because for once we'll actually have more road games than we do home games scheduled. But like I say, that's not really out of the norm for a lot of teams, just because of the international games and stuff like that too, kind of. But anyway, so yeah, as of now, the Minnesota Vikings will be playing 8 at US Bank Stadium and 9 on the road. And on top of that too, the Minnesota Vikings will be playing the 5th toughest schedule in the NFL this season. Yeah, there ain't no rest for the wicked. That's all I gotta say. I mean, the NFC North this year, I think, all of us are in the top 10 for the toughest, schedule this year. So, whoever wins the NFC North, it's gonna be hard fought. So, yeah, I mean, the NFC North is usually a trickier division, but over the last few years, it's kind of seemed like it's been between us and the Packers, but again, we'll kind of see how all that breaks down, as well as once, the draft and all that stuff happens. So, let's go ahead and start off with the home team schedule, because, yeah, we got some tough games on the home, but we also have, in my opinion, the road schedule this year is just going to be an absolute meat grinder, and it's going to be... So, yeah, let's go ahead and start off with the Chicago Bears. Yeah, the Bears we split with last year, beating them at Soldier Field, ironically enough, and losing at home. Go figure. Yeah, because, 2020. But anyway, the Chicago Bears, though, have a new starting quarterback in Andy Dalton, which, again, I really can't laugh at too much, because Andy Dalton beat us last year as the Cowboys quarterback in a game that I won't revisit. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Andy Dalton will be the penciled-in day one starter, but like I say, this video is as of April 1st, 2021, so who knows, that could very easily change come week whenever we play them. So, yeah, but like I say, Andy Dalton, Allen Robinson, David Montgomery on the offense, and I don't know if they still have their 8 tight ends or whatever, but yeah. And, however, though, the defense is also going to be kind of interesting to watch, because, in my opinion, they lost arguably one of the most underrated corners in Kyle Fuller to a cap casualty. In other words, a cap dump. So, oof. Yeah, I mean, the Bears are always tricky to digest, because, again, they were a playoff team last year. Barely. But they were kind of 2018 all over again there, when all we had to do was beat them, and we couldn't, and the Bears ended up making it into the playoffs, and we didn't. But again, yeah. Plus, it'll be interesting to see, too, because Mitchell Trubisky's now in Buffalo backing up Josh Allen. So, who knows, Again, the Bears are always tricky to point out. And now, the Green Bay Packers. Oh, baby. I mean, the Packers really didn't lose a lot of big names per se. Probably, in my opinion, the biggest one that I can think of right off the top of my head is Jamal Williams. but ironically enough, they lost him to the Lions, which, again, the Lions have a history of just, like, signing any running back that's on the street, basically, at this point. Like, but anyway, again, we'll break that down when we get there, but, yeah. The Green Bay Packers' biggest signing is bringing back Aaron Jones. So, yeah, I mean, once they realized that they have a running game, yeah, that kind of changed everything. Because, again, not only do we just have to focus on Davante Adams, which, and again, in and of itself is a challenge and a half. Thankfully, though, the Vikings have improved on the secondary tremendously. So, it'll be interesting to see, though, because, again, Davante Adams. That's all I got to say there. Be interesting to see if they pick up any more receivers in the draft, or if they still go in free agency and pick up some more guys, but yeah. And their defense might finally actually be a defense. If they could ever stop the run. Yeah, like I say, there's some things that are always steady in the NFC North, like the Vikings will always find a way to underperform or overperform. Never perform where they're supposed to be. The Packers will never be able to stop anyone on defense. The Bears are who we thought they were. And the Lions, well, are the poor Lions. But anyway. Yeah. So, that's the NFC North for you. Anyway, back to the Packers, and to wrap it up. Again, Aaron Rodgers is still a bad mother you-know-what. And until Aaron Rodgers leaves the team, he will still be a bad mother you-know-what. A top 5 quarterback, top 3 quarterback in this league even. So, yeah, I mean, again, will this finally be the year, though, that they move on from Rodgers after this season? Who knows? Time will tell, but again, as of now, yeah. I mean, yeah. The Packers have always been the kryptonite of the Vikings and, well, pretty much most of the teams in the NFC North. So, again, we'll just wait and see. So, on to the Detroit Lions. That'll be an interesting team to watch for me this year. That'll be a very interesting team to watch because for the first time in... for the first time since 2008, since the end of the 2008 season, Matthew Stafford will not be the starting quarterback day one for the Detroit Lions. Now, again, this doesn't also include when he's been injured and all that stuff, but literally, this is the first time since 2008 that Matthew Stafford is not on the Detroit Lions. Wow. I mean, yeah. And who do they replace him with? Jared Goff. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Because, well, Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. He played with an awesome defense. I mean, Aaron Donald is a bona fide Hall of Famer and a defensive MVP candidate year in and year out. So, again, it'll be interesting to see just what we do there and just how well we match up against them, as well as another new coaching staff. So, yeah, and as I said before, they picked up Jamal Williams from the Packers, but this is going to be huge, though, because they lost both of their big play receivers, which, again, as a Vikings fan, thank you, because I can't tell you how many times Marvin Jones has absolutely cooked our secondary. Granted, he's like the only one who actually does anything on the offense, but still. Marvin Jones is now in Jacksonville, will probably be catching passes from, well, Trevor Lawrence is who we all assume they're going to pick at this point. I mean, they'd be stupid if they didn't, but anyway. And Kenny Golladay is now a New York Giant. So, again, we'll just see kind of who their receivers are moving into 2021. And, well, their defense, yeah, I don't even know who the heck is on their defense at this point, because it pretty much changes every year. So, Who knows? Yeah, so that, like I say, that wraps up the NFC North. And on to the AFC North home opponents, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because Big Ben is back. Juju is back. But holy crap, did they take a hit on that defense. Bud Dupree, gone. I mean, that's probably their biggest one that they lost. Granted, they still have TJ Watt, but I mean, the Steelers might be on borrowed time here. So, who knows? And again, who knows how long Big Ben will last, too. So, they have no run game. Their defense has kind of fallen off a little bit. Well, yeah. So, yeah, the Steelers are going to be a very interesting team because, like I say, they also started off undefeated, going 11-0, and then literally limping into the playoffs before getting absolutely railed by the next team we'll be taking on at home, in the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago where we could make jokes about the Cleveland Browns and all that stuff, but now we can't. Now the Browns are actually a legit team. And, whoo boy, I mean, they got some horses on offense. Baker Mayfield looks legit. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt as their running back duo. Beckham, when healthy, is a game changer. Jarvis Landry, when healthy, is a game changer. I mean, they have Njoku, they have Austin Hooper. I mean, they have some studs on offense. And their defense, you can't, I mean, Myles Garrett, when he's on, he's on. Olivier Vernon is another pretty solid piece. I mean, they have some solid pieces overall, and the Browns team is a legit team now. So it'll be interesting to see here because it'll be interesting to see how our offense matches up against their defense and how our D matches up against their offense. So yeah, I mean, who knows? And then the NFC West opponents that'll be playing us at US Bank Stadium are the LA Rams. Remember the whole thing with Matthew Stafford? Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Because, well, he'll actually be playing with a team around him that might actually, be playoff caliber for once. So, again, when Aaron Donald and that defense, they're legit. Their offense has some scary good pieces, too, that you can't, overlook. So, the Rams always pose an interesting fight. And finally, for the first time in what seems like forever, yeah, we play the Seattle Seahawks, but we play them at home. The last time we played them at home, yeah, I don't really want to revisit that. Damn you, Walsh! But anyway. But yeah, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, I mean, their offense is dangerous, even though their offensive line can't stop anybody. And their defense is, oh boy, let's just say, really outside of Jamal Adams and, Bobby Wagner, let's say, that really don't have a whole lot. And we should have beat them last year in Seattle, but our freaking defense, just, whatever. Yeah, I was questioning that call from the get-go. Anyway, so yeah. Be interesting to see how the Seahawks look this year because, again, also the whole Russell Wilson thing. Does he want to finally leave town? And again, I can't blame him when he's literally getting murdered every other play. So, yeah, anyway. And to round out the home schedule, we take on the Dallas Cowboys. For whatever reason, we have a heck of a time playing them at home. Since US Bank Stadium opened, we are 0-2 against them. And ironically enough, both of the times we played them, we were wearing our Color Rush or Midnight Purple or Primetime Purple, whatever the heck you want to call them, jerseys. So, I don't know if that has anything to do with it or whatever, but yeah. And again, Dak Prescott getting paid, as well as Zeke, Bernard Pollard, and of course, that freaking receiving monster in Cooper, Gallup. I mean, and you can't rule out CeeDee Lamb either. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Their defense is absolute dog water, but which kind of surprised me, honestly, last year, just how bad their defense actually was, all things considered. But again, who knows? We'll wait and see what happens. Because, yeah. No matter what happens, if the Cowboys are good or if the Cowboys are horrible, it's going to be spectacular either way. And now on to the road opponents that aren't the NFC North. Because, yeah, like I say, the Bears, Packers, and Lions, we play them also on the road. You know, divisional matchups. Sort of how that thing works. But, yeah. Let's just say these next opponents, oof, Marone. Starting with the Bengals. Now, Joe Burrow, will he actually be upright for once? You know. Well, can he actually stay up? Because, well, their offensive line basically got him absolutely murdered last year. And he's now without A.J. Green. But they do have T. Higgins, which is a pretty good receiver. I mean, like I say, though, with the Bengals, they're still kind of in rebuild mode, so who knows? Who knows what to expect with them? I mean, again, we only play them once every few years, so. But yeah, should be a win, but like I say, I always say it should be wins and all that stuff. Plus, apparently they're getting new uniforms, so see what those look like. And now, oh boy, we go to the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of this guy by the name of Lamar Jackson. Anyone? Yeah. So you can kind of see here. Does that name and number ring a bell to anybody? Yeah. Let's just say the Vikings have struggled against mobile quarterbacks and quarterbacks like that, because, oh boy. If this turns into a track meet, we are done. Because again, Lamar Jackson can sling it, but he can also literally run the brakes right through you. I mean, let's just say Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce are going to have fun. Oof, Maron. Not to mention their offense is pretty good too. If they can get, a couple of really good receivers on that team, that should help them out tremendously as well. Well, let's just say the Ravens are a Super Bowl threat every year. Yeah. And the next opponent that scares me is the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, boy. The reason why I say that's because, well, people will be like, oh, but the Niners were bad last year. Yeah, because literally by week 10, everybody on that team was on IR. And I mean literally everybody at this point. Like, I mean, they lost Bosa, Kittle, Garoppolo was down. I mean, Mostert went down. Their defensive line was literally on IR by week 8. They're going to get all of those boys back. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with their traded draft pick, because I don't know if you know this, but the Niners kind of shook up the draft order in a big, big way, moving up to pick number 3. So, yeah, who knows? Garoppolo might be for sale pretty soon here, and the reason why I mention that is because, again, I don't usually like to bring up rumors, but there's been a lot of rumors about Kirk Cousins and Kyle Shanahan. For those of you who don't know, Kyle Shanahan and Kirk Cousins were linked together with their time in Washington. So, again, at this point, it's all smoke and mirrors, and if anything big happens, I will let you know, but never say never. So, yeah, that's not going to be an easy game. Because, again, the Niners, at full strength, literally were the Super Bowl representative in the NFC in 2019. So, I mean, yeah. Can never rule those guys out. And again, you really don't expect everyone to be that injured again. And now moving on to a dark horse team in the Arizona Cardinals. Again, a team to watch out for because J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, Kenyon Drake, Kyler Murray. Be interesting to see if they keep Chris Streveler, but I mean, they did sign Colt McCoy away from the Giants. And again, Colt McCoy, one of those quarterbacks is like, wait, he's still in the league? Quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, their defense is going to be much improved. However, though, Patrick Peterson coming over from Arizona will be big for us. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how, that whole thing goes on with us basically taking Patrick Peterson away from them. So, yeah, I mean, again, the Cardinals you can't sleep on either. Especially because, I don't know if you've heard of this guy by the name of DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. So the Cardinals are definitely not an easy team to beat by any means. And then, yeah, the last teams here are the Carolina Panthers. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see just overall what they look like because, again, they're kind of rebuilding themselves. Will Teddy be back? Will it be a different quarterback? I mean, there's a lot of question marks over there in Carolina. But I think they're finally starting to rebuild and kind of get new pieces. Because, again, Curtis Samuel left, and I know that they still have McCaffrey, but yeah, so it'll be interesting because, again, I really don't expect much from the Panthers. Now, as I said before, with the 17th game on the schedule, that means we now go to, the LA Chargers. So, yeah, we go take on the LA Chargers at SoFi next year. So that'll be interesting because Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. Their defense, which was very similar to our defense, because, well, yeah, Justin Herbert looked like a bona fide stud. And he ended up taking home the Offensive Rookie of the Year, which I know there's kind of some debate between him and Justin Jefferson on who should have taken that, but again, typically it's a quarterback-driven league. So, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Justin Herbert at all. He deserves it, don't get me wrong. Because, let's just say they probably have found their next big quarterback, their next Phillip Rivers. It kind of reminds me of like a Phillip Rivers, so he'll fit right in. Yeah, so after that, here's another little tidbit. Minnesota Vikings went 4-2 against the division in 2020, as well as wins against the Panthers, but we also lost to the Cowboys and the Seahawks. So, who knows? I mean, it'll be interesting to see because, well, with that 17th game and all that stuff, they're going to be reducing preseasons, so yeah. Let's just say, may the best team win in the NFC North, because, again, it's going to be tough for whoever comes out of the NFC North. So, yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up my schedule breakdown pre-draft 2021. And also stay tuned because, well, I'll try my best to kind of recap some of the players and all that stuff. But again, if this draft is anything like last year when the Vikings had 15 picks last year, that'll be kind of difficult to do. So, but yeah, Until we meet again, this is Jacob. Skål Vikings. And have a good night.